Hey, I just want to, obviously you've been in that situation before. I know it happened with Corey a couple of years ago where you're on the sideline, Josh goes down. Can you just talk to me about exactly what that process is like, having to kind of jump in midstream and what you do to kind of get yourself ready for that role when, maybe have been kind of, I don't want to say being cold, but obviously not being in the flow of the game.
Yeah, you just gotta kind of go in there and rely on every banked rep I have in these last 6 years in the NFL. I'd say it's a lot easier as a veteran now than it was earlier in my career, and not knowing what to expect, especially in 2019 when I filled in for Corey for the first time at Dallas. I'm not going to lie, I had some big eyes and, was kind of doing my own thing with a few of those direct snaps, but it was a lot of learning from that. It was good tape for me to watch, and I've just tried to build off that. And, one thing that Sten always harps on is never make the same mistake twice and learn from the first time. And I've tried to do that up to this point, and I feel like that process has helped me come in and perform pretty well.
Jason Wilde, go ahead.
Hey, Lucas, how are you, man? Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, doing good.
A couple of years ago, a couple of us were around your locker and you told us about a conversation you had with Aaron and how much it meant to you. He said you guys had a heart-to-heart a couple of weeks ago. You don't need to, I don't need to ask for specifics entirely, but in general, what were you guys talking about and what did that mean to you?
Well, I think it started out with the preference of peanut butter or just syrup on pancakes. Yeah, there's a little tradition around here on certain Thursdays, and as other guys have left, it's ended up just being Aaron and I enjoying some tasty pancakes from Adam Corzin. So yeah, we have a lot of time to sit and talk. Sometimes he talks most of the time, sometimes I talk most of the time, and it's just a good time to plug into a good person. I think that's the best thing to say about him and who he's been to me. And I'd probably say a majority of everyone who's come through this locker room is he's willing to open up and give as much as you're willing to give back. Yeah, very appreciative of our time every Thursday.
Were you struggling with anything in particular, and what is your preference on the pancakes then?
I think every athlete struggles with something every day, but we tend to hide it, and we've got stuff off the field. It's not necessarily every time it's X's and O's, or it's how things are going in the building. And I truly appreciate his friendship and being able to share things that are happening off the field, and just getting to know each other better that way. And I've definitely adopted the peanut butter from him. Tasty.
Silverstein, go ahead.
Hey, Lucas. So you back up 3 different positions on the offensive line. How many snaps do you think you got at center during practice this past week? And then just to add to that, Matt was saying that Chicago kind of threw something different at you guys up front. So how much of a challenge was that? All combined.
Well, I'd say during the week, I still focus on playing center for the scout team, and very blessed to have a nose tackle like Kenny Clark on our team, because there's no better way to learn than going against him and, working with him Wednesdays and Thursdays. And so that I feel like prepares me, because in my opinion, Kenny's in the top echelon of nose tackles in this league. So that's definitely an added benefit. And yeah, I mean, the Bears, they're a really good defense. They've got great guys, and it was definitely a challenge, but I think we adapted and overcame the initial surge well, and sustained and stood together and ended up pulling that one out.
Just so everyone knows, Whitney Merciless has begun in the media auditorium. So just a heads up if you wanted to hear from him. We can go back to Wes Hadkowitz. Go ahead, Wes.
Hey, Lucas, kind of going back to Aaron for a second. I asked him about you yesterday, and he mentioned in the middle of his answer, he talked about how, tough, smart, physical player, but he felt like you could be an elite center in this league. And obviously you don't kind of pigeonhole yourself to one position, but in what ways do you feel you've grown with that spot? And was there ever a point there where it wasn't about, okay, I'm trying to pick it up at this level, but it really is something that I can do and be counted on?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just understanding the techniques needed at center. When I first learned under, when Coach Campen was here, a lot of it was trial by fire and just putting a ball in my hand and figuring it out versus the scout team and doing things. And, I think I also picked a lot up from Corey and taking stuff from him and learning. And so I think I've had the luxury of understanding and learning center at the NFL level. It's just a different level of coaching, different level of technique needed. And it's a lot of credit to Steno and Buckus who have stayed on me. And every day I snap in CQX from the first time they showed up, even our veteran mini camp, when you get a new head coach, they threw me right in the fire with Aaron at center that weekend and just kind of see if I could handle everything. So, but yeah, I would say it's a testament to all the coaches and older players I've had around me who have given me tips and tricks while I've been at this level.
Jason Wilde.
Hey, Lucas, everything you overcame to make it to this point, right? I mean, we all were there for 2016 and the tryout and everything else. Did you lean on that this year in training camp? Just from the outside looking in, it sure felt like they were looking for to give just about anybody an opportunity to take your job. And I remember them kind of doing that in preseason with Lane Taylor a couple of years ago too. And you're still here and you fought through it. Did you lean on that experience and what was that like to go through?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak on personnel decisions or what, how they went. And I just know how I handle myself and what I do in the off season to get myself ready. I just have a mentality. I won't be outworked and I'm not going to let this opportunity go by without maximizing it. That camp learned a lot about myself and resiliency and being a good teammate. Because at the end of the day, if our best five are out there and that's not myself, then my new role is to get those best five ready to go by challenging them or even challenging our defense on scout teams. So there's always an impact you can have on a win or a loss, even if you're not on the field on game day.
Any other questions for Lucas? Wes, go ahead.
Hey, Lucas, just from your seat too, as a fellow undrafted free agent, what did you think of what Yash gave you this year, and especially in that spot where he's kind of the plan C, after Elton getting hurt too? How did you feel he stepped up in that role, and did you kind of see that coming after watching him the past 2 years?
I mean, what he's done is impressive because each year it's like he gets 120% better. I've not seen a guy in high school, college, or this level grow consistently like he's grown. So it's a credit to who he is, not only in this building, but clearly every offseason he's either getting more efficient, somehow getting bigger and stronger and moving people better. And but his confidence is growing. Like you can tell he knows he belongs at this level. And I think that was the thing that needed to take him over the edge, is to know that he can go out there and stonewall anyone. I mean, he's a physical specimen, but I'd say his confidence has grown. And, we've got a lot of good coaches pouring into him and a lot of older players and, Dave and Elgie just really pouring into him and Billy, and super proud of him. I mean, it wasn't the easiest situation he got thrown into, and he performed. So it's a testament to his character.
Jason, go ahead.
Lucas, you mentioned Billy. We haven't been in the locker room for a while, but I remember talking to him the first year he was here and then listening to him on Zooms last year. I mean, what's he like to work with? He seems like a pretty deep cat who has a lot of different thoughts. What's he like to be in the room with?
He's absolutely amazing to work with, whether it's his craft, the film room, or the weight room. Like he'll always have a tip. Like today, we're watching film, and of course I'm looking inside, just prepping for this week, and he noticed something and taps me on the shoulder and completely kind of opens my eyes to things. Or the way he sees both, I think, relationships in the world and football is such an interesting perspective that it helps broaden everyone, make everyone better. And I'm so grateful to have him as a teammate and as a friend. He's one of the most authentic people I think I've ever met.
Wes, go ahead.
Yeah, Lucas, just about Washington coming up on Sunday, what do you see from that front? In particular, those interior linemen. Obviously, there's a lot of resources, a lot of draft picks they've put into that, but in what ways do they kind of challenge you in the trenches?
Yeah, so I think the last time we played them, their defense was more of a read and react up front, and this year they're playing a little more aggressive and allowing the D lineman to come off the ball, and that's playing to their strength. I mean, they're talented guys, they're strong, they're athletic, they move well, they've got good feet, good hips. I mean, I think this is, you almost say it every week in the NFL, but this is probably going to be one of the most talented teams up front that we've played to date. So we're going to have to bring our full toolbox of techniques to stop them. But they're a good front, and we'll have our work cut out for us.